Social media will tell you that when a man is leading properly, a woman will submit. Reality will tell you that couldn't be further from the truth.
But you want to lead this woman. She's telling you you're not a good leader and you're not listening to her. Then somebody come and crack your shorty, and now you getting on the internet talking about, I can't believe that my woman left me for a lesser man. The problem was you.
Probably were meeting that standard. She's just trying to gaslight you and make you think you're not good enough because she doesn't want to rise to the occasion. Y'all think I'm tripping? Maybe I am. I'm just telling you my experience.
Could it be said that men should have standards too?
Because 100% men should have standards. The problem is, for most of us, our standards stop at beauty.
Men, stop lying. I'm tired. It's the 1st of December. It's the 1st of the month. Maybe we could start off this month without so many men lying. I got to do my PSA. Stop lying. Stop lying, man. Give it up. Give it a rest. Damn, the women not coming back, bro. We lost them. They're gone. Let's try something else. Let's work on ourselves for us to be better. It's okay. I like men are running around here talking about men are the prize. They talking about men need to make women feel their absence. Like, what are y'all talking about? It's not real. It's not like the women don't like us. They don't like us for good reason. They don't like us. I totally understand. I don't like men. I'm not a fan of men in general. I got some male friends that I fuck with. I got some males that I rock with, some men that I fuck with. You know what I'm saying? Homies, whatever, family, sons, right? But I don't like men in general. Men are embarrassing. Men are not, when you are not an NPC as a man, men are not fun to be around. Boring. I just got done talking about this earlier. All y'all want to talk about is sports. Y'all don't have no depth. Don't nobody want to get serious. Motherfuckers always want to go drink. Like, never just want to, we can't ever just chill and just talk and just hang out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really like men in general. Just the lies that men tell, the games, the obsession with women, the obsession with vagina and getting like, it's a lot. It's too much. It's too much for a human like me. But this shit got to stop. Now all of a sudden, men are the ones who have standards. Now all of a sudden, our standards are too high. When did men have? Look? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Men do have standards. I want to preface what we're about to talk about by saying this: men have standards. That is true, because men would not tolerate, like, if women actually acted like men, like the way men keep lying and saying women do. So basically, if a man got into a relationship with a woman and she required him to do all the labor in the relationship, he wouldn't tolerate that. That even if he tried to hold it together, he wouldn't be able to. Like, most men don't have the fortitude to hold a relationship together. They don't have the tools it takes, right? Emotionally, all that stuff. So the relationship would basically implode on itself. So men do have standards. They do expect women to do all the fucking labor and all of that stuff. That is definitely true. I think men's standards are way too high, right? But women live up to those standards. That's the funniest thing. Women actually live up to and exceed the standards that men have for them. And men still aren't satisfied. But when I say that men don't have standards, the reason why men don't have standards on the other side of things, because on the flip side, men are all they have to worry about, because most women live up to and or exceed the standards of most men. All men have to focus on is what is everything but that stuff. That's the reality. So I'm just like, this type of shit is so weird to me.
Social media will tell you that when a man is leading properly, a woman will submit. Reality will tell you that couldn't be further from the truth. In my life experience, I'm tall, handsome, six-figure earner. Outside of a couple sips of alcohol, I never drank or smoked or did any drug in my life. No kids that I know about, at least. Business owner, entrepreneur. And I'm not saying all these things to act like I'm better than people. I'm just
Yes, you are. That's exactly why you're saying all these things. You're saying these things because you you don't actually know what makes a man a decent human being. You have no fucking idea. And you think by saying you're taller than most men or you make more money than most men by, putting other men down, that gives you some cachet and that gives you some credibility.
saying all these things to act like I'm better than people. I'm just simply naming my credentials to validate myself as a man who has something to contribute, a man who deserves to be listened to. And I
Why does being tall and making money make you somebody to be listened to?
can't begin to tell y'all how many times in life I've shown up living and leading by example. And yes, sometimes women will respect your leadership and follow your program. But more often than not,
Program, leading by example. What do you mean by that? You haven't talked about anything that had to do with like your intrinsic value, the intangible things.
and follow your program. But more often than not, she may fold and run to a lesser dude who's just going to accept bad behavior. I'm talking a dude who is objectively uglier, dumber, broker, treats her far worse. And for a long time, I was wondering, like, yo, what am I doing wrong to where I'm losing these shorties to dudes who are clearly worse? But then I realized something. You see, when you set a high standard, you would think that people are going to rise to the occasion to meet you. That is not the case. They just might run to a man with lower standards who's just going to accept whatever BS they throwing out. This is where the trick comes in because a woman will just be like, well, I didn't trust your leadership. Well, whatever. You're not setting a good example, blah, 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 blah. And the man starts
And instead of you listening to that, she telling you what's going on. Instead of you listening to that, you like trying to act like you know better than her. So you want to lead her, which is weird in and of itself, right? But you want to lead this woman. She's telling you you're not a good leader and you're not listening to her. Then somebody come and crack your shorty, and now you getting on the internet talking about, I can't believe that my woman left me for a lesser man. The problem was you. You're not a good leader. You're not a good leader. And most women don't want to be led. That's where you're going wrong right there. Could it be that these men that you deem to be lesser were men that didn't try to lead the women and they just tried to be in partnership with the women and be in a relationship with the woman? Just maybe.
well, whatever. You're not setting a good example, blah, 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 blah. And the man starts questioning himself, thinking, like, damn, am I really good enough? Was I meeting that standard? You
You're not good enough.
probably were meeting that standard. She's just trying to gaslight you and make you think you're not good enough because she doesn't want to rise to the occasion. Y'all think I'm tripping? Maybe I am. I'm just telling you my experience.
You've never experienced that. That story you're telling right now is a story you heard from a woman. That's what happens with women. I've said this a million times. Men do not want to live up to the expectations of women. Most men cannot meet the most basic expectations of women, which is treat her with respect, be honest, be kind, be generous, have gainful employment, don't manipulate, don't cheat, don't beat. You know what I'm saying? Like men fall, one of those things, men are not gonna like, and I mean like really, really, really fall short, right? And men know they're going to fall short a lot of times. They get into the relationship with the women. And what men will do is the thing that he is describing. They will go find a lesser attractive woman. They'll go find a woman that got less motion because that woman isn't going to challenge him. A lot of me, like I've said this about myself a million times. I know for a fact that there are a lot of women that I could have been with at various points in my life that would have took me just as I was and never asked any more of me, never demanded any more of me, right? And listen to what I'm saying. That's not even to blame or shame them, because we're all on different levels and we all have different expectations. You dig what I'm saying? So this is like no knock to those women, like saying like they're lesser than or they're, whatever the case may be, right? But I know that, like I know for a fact that there was a group of women out there that when I was 30, whatever, when I was 27 And with all my fucking hangups and all my baggage or whatever, there was a woman that I could have been with that would have been like, nope, I like you just the way you are, and took me just like that and never said nothing about it. And we could have lived together or whatever, right? Now, to that, I know that I wouldn't have become the version of myself that I am today. If I never was challenged and I never was required to do more for the person and the people in my life, I never would have grown, sadly. I'm not gonna lie about it. I wasn't interested in self-development, or I was, but just not, I didn't know how to do. I didn't know what it really looked like. Let me put it like that, right? But my wife, she's she challenged me and challenges me to be the best version of myself. I respect and appreciate that. That has led to an immense amount of success, not only in my professional life, but in my personal life, right? I owe her the world. And I've talked about this a million times. That wasn't her job. That she wasn't required to do that, but she did. And I thank her for that. That is a story that men often have, is that, oh, they were with a woman that challenged them to be the best version of themselves. He couldn't live up to the expectations or refused to, not that he couldn't, he refused to live up to the expectations. He quit that woman, found him another woman that was fine with the person that he was, and they lived, I guess, happily ever after. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I've seen it a lot of times, actually, not like one time. I've seen it like a good amount of times. Men were with women who were better off than them, more educated than them, moving the trajectory was, and they were taking the man with them, but she was like, dude, you didn't do this. Why didn't you do that? Dude, I need for you to do that. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you showing up in this way? Why aren't you showing? And he just got overwhelmed. He was just like, I quit. A lot of them ended up cheating on her, and then, whatever. But some of the dudes ended up like really breaking it off with the woman, and then finding a woman who didn't do that. That is something that I've pretty much only seen men do. I don't think I've ever seen a woman do that. In my lifetime, I've never seen one woman do that. I've seen several men do that. And also, to be fair, two of those men that I can think of off the top of my head, they're still married to those women. And we're talking 20 years ago, 25 years, you know what I'm saying? Like a good amount of time ago. They're still with those women. So it's not bad. It's not like you know what I mean? Like some people just, some people are just like, I'm good here. I don't need to be here. I'm good right here. And that's fine. That's fine. If both parties are okay with it, you like it, I love it. Right? But what the story that this bullshitter just told is that of women. Women experience that. Women experience being with men who they're building. They're being Barbara the Builder, build a man. He don't, he's not going along with the program. He's fighting her at every single conceivable turn, tooth and nail, scraping and scratching and clawing. And she's like, you know what? This is a lot. This is a lot. And then they end up breaking up, and then she sees him, or she sees whatever the next woman he's with, and she's not on the same trajectory as this woman, or she's not in the same place as this woman. Happens all the time. Women will tell you all the time. This is no shade, no tea to the other woman. I don't want it. This is not a you know what I'm saying, a competition, but some people are just objectively in better places than other people. Some people some people are educated. They're, I'm talking about like having degrees and stuff like that. Some people aren't. You dig what I'm saying? That's a black or white thing. That's not like my perception. And those men, sometimes they go with those types of women because they don't want to be with no hoity-toity smart woman, some educated woman. They can't deal with that shit. A lot of men are afraid of educated women. A lot of them get into relationships with women, and then the woman becomes educated while they're in a relationship. And they be like, I can't deal with this. A lot of men crash out. A lot of men quit. A lot of men quit when the women start to make more money, or start to make as much money as him, or start to make any money. Now they can't take it because now her voice a little bit louder. Now she, expecting a little bit more. I go to work 40 hours a week just like you. Why am I still cleaning up just like I was cleaning up when I wasn't working? These are things we've seen 1,000 times, but from women. These motherfuckers is stealing women's stories. That shit is disgusting. This is what I know to be true about men.
Could it be said that men should have standards too? Because
100%. Men should have standards. The problem is for most of us, our standards stop at beauty. So that's one of the biggest issues with our standards is they stop at beauty. We start with where she rank on the scale. Is she sexy, this and that, whatever. We don't really, for a lot of men, we don't really get to the root of what those additional standards are outside
Until
of
it's too late.
superficial stuff like cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. We never really get to the actual standards about a person.
Is her mind right? Does she have any ambition?
So yes, men should have standards, and we need to pick better ones.
But to pick your standard, you have to set your standard. True. A lot of niggas don't set their standard.
That's facts.
And once the beauty, etc. fades and the veil is pulled back, damn, what the
You can only protect another man so much.
Right.
We all gonna do what we want to do at the end of the day. You tell your boys what you about to do. Most of them will tell you that's a dumbass
that's
idea.
a dumb move.
That's stupid. Don't do that. Then you be like, man, you right. Then that leave that conversation to go do the opposite of everything y'all was just talking about. So then it's like at some point you gotta protect yourself.
That is what I've seen. That's men don't have standards. Men do literally. That's why men will be up here and they'll tell you out of their own mouths, I don't care where a woman work. I'll marry a woman if I'm, and they be just talking, don't get me wrong, but if I made $100,000, I would marry a girl that work at McDonald's. Why? You're dumb. I would never. You're stupid. No shade to women working at McDonald's, no shade. But I'm saying, same thing and vice versa. I totally understand. If I make $100,000, I want my lifestyle to reflect that. I want my lifestyle to reflect that. I don't want to have to live a different lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? Like, and if you marry a woman that makes half as much money as you, your lifestyle is going to go down. Like, that's just a reality. It is. You got to pay for two people. You got, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna go down. Then don't add kids to that shit. It's gonna go down. So no, I want a woman that makes around the same amount of money as me. And I'm saying, like, I said six figures. Most men ain't making six figures that aren't married. You know, most men that make six figures are married. But I'm just saying, like, whatever it is, I just don't, it's just really dumb that men be out here on some, like, I'll marry a woman that work at Starbucks. And I'm like, yeah, the reason why you're saying that is because the only thing that you are going to pay attention to is how attractive she is. You will marry a woman that work at Hooters if she got a fat enough ass. You will marry a woman, you will marry a bottle girl, you will marry all types of, you know what I'm saying? If she's fine enough and if she give you the time of day, y'all will marry these women. Again, I'm not saying these women aren't worth marrying. I'm saying the men aren't picking the women that, they're not picking the women a lot of times based on what like the personality makeup of the women. You know, to know that the man and the woman can be in a compatible relationship. They're not picking the woman off of that. They're going, she bad. She's the finest woman I can get. Marry her. Put a ring on her right now. Like, that's how a lot of men pick their women. How attractive is she? Now, again, even in those situations, those women still do exponentially more than the men. They still cook more. They clean more. They bear children. They're more honest. They have more integrity. But the personalities ain't jiving. The personality sometimes don't be adding up. Sometimes those women demand more or demand something that man don't want to get. Like, men don't vet. That's why I laugh when men be on there like, women need to vet better. No. Women vet. Women do a great job at vetting. I'm not going to hold you. I think women do a great job at vetting. The only problem with women is they make a ton of concessions to be with men, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be with men. If women did what men are telling women to do, which is just like drop a man at whatever sign of a red flag or whatever, none of us would have made it. I wouldn't have made it. Never would have made it. I never would have made it with any woman. I never would have been able to run that gauntlet, American Ninja style type shit. I would have bounced off the first balls, like when they got to hop across the lake or whatever, hit that ball and just flash into the river. Like most men don't. We fuck up early. We fuck up early and often. Women be giving us passes. We be problematic in the goddamn text messages. We be problematic when we approach the woman at the bar to buy her a drink. We be weird, and they be like, he cute. Something about them. So I shut the fuck up. I don't be on that like women need to vet better shit. No. Men need to be better. Men need to be better. As simple as that. Raise your standards, lower your standards. No, you need to meet women's standards. That's how this game is. That's how we need to play this game. Because men are not invested in being the best versions of themselves. And they're not invested in showing up for the women the way that the women need, the way that the women deserve, and the way that the women show up for the men. We don't do it. We don't do it. That's the reality.